Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with potato gnocchi, or gnocchi as it's supposed to be pronounced in Italian. I had one potato and I said I'm going to make a really small batch of gnocchi. So I put it in the microwave for, I don't know, it was about 7 minutes for me, until it was cooked, nice and dry. It's okay to microwave it. Stop making that face. Alright, and now probably the most important part. I need to have this potato really totally granular. So I'm going to push it through a strainer just with the back of a wooden spoon, and that's going to separate all those little grains of potato without mashing it, and that really is the key to the texture of like a really good gnocchi. So I push through all the potato, none of the skin of course. I'm going to add a nice big pinch of salt. I got to leave that out on the table for about 15 minutes to cool, otherwise it's going to scramble the egg. I'm going to dump in one beaten egg. By the way, you can easily double this recipe, of course. I'm going to mix in the egg with the tines of a fork, and I'm going to put in about a third of a cup of flour. And I'm just going to use my fork to just work it in there nice and gently. Now, I don't like my gnocchi too pasta-like. I prefer almost like a potato dumpling. So I'm just going to mix enough flour in to make this into the shape I want. So once I do that, I'm going to add another pinch. I'm going to move to a spatula. And with the spatula, I can kind of tell how dough-like it's getting. And right there, it just started to hold together. And I knew I was very close. All right, I'm going to go in with my fingers. Another shake of flour. And that, I can tell, just by feeling, all right, is going to hold together. And you really got to go by feel. And if you've never made gnocchi before, good luck with that. So I needed that just for maybe 10 seconds. I'm going to form it into like a log. I'm going to cut that in 4 pieces. And then we got to make what they call the snake. So you gently roll it on the board with your fingertips. You start in the center, and as you roll to the outside, and it gets longer and longer, and then you stop because it's perfect. It's about a 1/2 inch thick, and that's it. I'm going to cut these in little 1/2 inch slices that way. I don't really like a giant gnocchi. I prefer small ones, but that's up to you. Then, to make the little ridges on them, and this is very hard to describe and show in slow motion because you really do it much faster than this. But what you do is you take one of those pieces and you just kind of roll it on the back of a fork and it makes those little ridges. And you don't even have to do this really. But what happens is those little ridges, when it cooks, they say it helps hold the sauce, which I guess is true. Again, it's very hard to show. I don't have the best equipment for close-ups. But that's it. You just roll it. So you can do that or not do that. I don't think it's like a huge factor, but that is the traditional look with the little ridges. All right, I'm going to get my sauce ready. I'm just going to use a nice spicy tomato sauce. I'm going to bring some salted water to a boil. I'm going to dump in my gnocchi. And how you know they're done? Here's how. They're going to float after about, 30 seconds. After they come to the top, you're going to cook for exactly 14 seconds, and then you're going to pull them out with a strainer-like object, and you're going to dump them in your sauce, and you're going to toss them in the hot sauce, and they're ready to eat. And you can see all those little ridges that's going to kind of grab onto the sauce, and that looks pretty darn good. So these are really quick, simple potato gnocchi, not a complicated recipe. Great way to use up if you have one odd potato. I had, for whatever reason, I had one potato sitting in the bottom of the bin, and I figured, hey, let's make some gnocchi. I prefer these as a first course or as an appetizer, just a small amount like that. I don't really enjoy a whole giant plate of them, but that's up to you. So this batch with one potato, you're going to get about 4 appetizers or 2 main courses. All right, serve it very simply with some grated Reggiano Parmesan, and that's it. We're done. Anyway, I hope you give these a try. They're fun to make. Go to the site, get the ingredients, and as always, enjoy.